flying families. Hey, welcome to Flite Test. I'm Josh, and this is the Vierling family from
Iowa.
Iowa.
Came all the way from Iowa.
We always talk about sharing memories as family, and in the past, this hobby was something oftentimes divided families because the planes were too dangerous to be around. It was something oftentimes that people would separate and go do it, but nothing's further from the truth nowadays. Let's talk about names here. This is Noah, and the youngest is?
Griffin.
And 5 and 8 now. And what are they flying?
I'm flying a Vengeance from West Michigan Park Flyers.
Griffin is flying the Magnum, which is also from West Michigan Park Flyer.
I think my wife's gonna be getting one of those tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's what we trained her on in the simulator. Well, let's put them up in the air. Let's have some fun flying together. Now, Dad, we always talk about a family that plays together, stays together. How did you get your kids into the hobby so young?
Well, I started out flying and just brought them out to the field all the time. And basically when they showed interest, I just kind of said, okay, if you're interested, we'll go pick out an airplane, hand them the transmitter and just let them do it. You know, if they crashed it, we worked on things, but both boys took off really quickly.
Speaking of taking off, I think just lost a prop, huh?
Yeah, Griffin just lost his prop there.
We got more.
Let's get him back up in the air. I'll go get a prop saver for you, okay?
Did you find it? Oh, here's the nose off of one of them.
There we are, back in business.
All right, you ready, bud? Go ahead.
So, Dad, one of the biggest things you said is no matter whether they're flying successfully or crashing, you're making an opportunity to do something with them, right?
Right, definitely.
That's one of the biggest things, if I can encourage you guys to do, is, yeah, crashing's unfortunate, but think about it this way. You get a whole opportunity of a captive audience to put every piece back together and relive that moment. And it's also where most of the learning goes on. You can assess what you did wrong, but also the conversations come out, don't they?
Yep. Yep, it's a lot of fun working on the airplanes together and going through, you know, either what we can do differently next time or just hanging out.
I've had a lot of flights with my dad, but all the ones I remember is when we're picking up the pieces. And I gave him lots of opportunities to do that. So do your kids start with simulators?
They did. They played with simulator a little bit, but a lot of it was just actually out at the field. We don't live far from our RC field, and so it's basically our home away from home. So
Nice.
we're out there anytime, any opportunity we can get out there.
Noah here, when we met him last year, how many years was he flying before we met him?
He started when he was 3, so he'd been flying for 4 years. Griffin also soloed when he was 3.
3 years old.
Yep, so.
That's amazing. And what was the plane that you started him with?
Noah started with a little, was it the Hobby Zone Champ, the little Ultra Micro?
Nice.
Yeah, it was one of the airplanes I had actually. Oh.
Let's go get it.
It was one of the airplanes that I had and just gave it to him and said, here you go, and he did awesome, so. All good, Bubba? We'll just straighten
You're
that out.
back in business. That's called a Magnum, right?
Yep, that's the Magnum.
From
West Michigan Park Flyers.
West Michigan Park Flyers.
Yep. It is very stable, very sturdy. It takes a beating and keeps on going.
It sure does. And they even have ones with pontoons on them, right?
Yep, they do have optional floats, which is kind of fun. We haven't actually had a chance to make it out yet, but we do have the float set for it.
Nice.
You ready to go up again, bud? All right.
Wow. You know, they fit right in here. I love this. Now, you have a wonderful wife and a daughter as well, too, right?
Yes. Yep.
That's great. And they travel with you guys while you go to different flying events?
Yeah, we try to make sure that everybody goes together and has fun. And my daughter flew when she was younger until it was, you know, uncool to hang out with Dad at the airfield. But
you know, it'll come around.
Yeah.
It'll come around.
She still comes out with us every once in a while.
Wonderful. And they're shy right now, but they're the wonderful folks over there in the corner. And I'll tell you what, a complete family doing this. My wife, she likes being around family more than flying, but it still gives you a good chuckle when you have an epic crash. It gives them a little bit of fun to enjoy that moment, huh?
Definitely. Mom is a great support, and she helps us actually put the planes together and everything at the field. So.
Inverted too.
Are you flying inverted, bud?
I think we found our replacements in about 3 years. Here, I'll launch them. So do your boys ever go out and fly together alone, or?
Nope, usually I'm with them. You know, they'll go out in the front yard with a lot of ultra micros and stuff like that.
What's some good safety tips? Because my kids are older now, and this hobby really, when they're about 6 years old, is when the electric was really relevant for them to get in it and affordable.
Yep.
What's some safety tips with really young kids that you teach them first?
The biggest thing is with lipos. We've had a couple incidents with lipos, so basically we don't fly any of the bigger airplanes that need charge or the bigger lipos without mom or dad helping out.
Nice. So they don't charge their own batteries,
No.
huh?
No.
What about prop safety? How do you teach them that at a young age?
Basically, they've seen me unfortunately make some mistakes.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of been good, and they've been very fortunate they haven't had any of those. But yeah, we definitely talk about that and staying away from the prop. But they've seen me do several times to myself. So
there's a couple components that are on planes like this that are really, really helpful, and those are prop savers.
Yep.
Very, very valuable. It's basically where the prop is attached with a rubber band. What that gives you the ability is, if God forbid it starts up, it'll spin off. And also with the many landings, it seems like kids love to take off and land and take off and land and take off and land. When that happens and stuff, oftentimes they tip over, and it does save the prop, saves the shaft. More importantly, if you run into somebody,
right,
it takes a lot of that rotational force away immediately.
Yep.
Dwayne, I sincerely want to thank you for bringing your wonderful family and getting to see these guys. He's growing up like crazy, but it's a true blessing to get to meet your whole entire family and see what you do together.
Yeah, thank you for letting us hang out.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And friends, I know that this is not the only film that does this. It is a wonderful experience, whether you're just championing from the sidelines, picking up the pieces, or making a memory with your kids. I'd strongly challenge you to do this if you haven't. And if you have, tag us at Flite Test on Instagram and hashtag Flying Families. And that way we can get to see all the wonderful families doing this together. That's one of the best parts about this hobby. All right, we'll see you next time.